Steve, it's great to see you and it's great to have you on our podcast. And we are super very excited for many, many
Yes.
reasons. First of all, I am very, very impressed with the stir that you've made amongst the Angelina Jordan community. And you are being jet propelled down the rabbit hole and you have no breaks in sight.
I love it. Well, thanks for having me, and, yes, I'm on that journey, and, I wanna upgrade my car so I can go a little faster. Let's do it, yeah. For every video I do the long form, which is, I definitely dive in, and sometimes I watch it a couple times to kinda get the idea of what she's doing, 'cause she does so many really cool things, so many runs or so many lines that it's just like, "Oh, what was that?" And I miss it the first time, and
One of the things I'm really impressed with your videos is you have a very penetrating laser like focus to how you approach the videos and Angelina and the music. And that focus is why Pontus and I are excited about having you on because that focus is Steve Cullum.
thanks for saying that, and, so, I've been doing music my whole life, and there's so many details. When a piece of song, any music comes by when I'm listening to it, it's like I'm flying down a country road at so fast and I'm missing all the details. So I have to go back and be like, okay, now just watch out for what are the trees doing? What kind of trees? Now let's go back and listen to it again. What was the wildlife? Was there any wildlife there? And so I have to go back so many times just because there's so many elements that it's like an ear candy. It's what I love. It's what I do. And so I hear all the drums. I play drums. I play all the instruments. So I'm a multi-instrument. So I hear all those little things. I'm like, oh, what was the piano doing here? Or what was they doing there? Or I love the strings. And if it doesn't jump out at me, then I want to go back and hear what it was doing to support the song. And you could say I'm laser focused, or you could say that I'm addicted to music and I just can't stop. So
Before we talk about Angelina, let's talk about Steve Cullum. Now, as much as I understand, you are a singer and you are a songwriter and you are a music producer and you are a vocal coach and you contribute to a lot of television programs.
yeah.
Before we speak about each of those individual categories, how were you first exposed to music? When did that all start?
Gosh, yeah. So going back to just growing up, my mum was a piano player, and she taught all of us kids all how to play piano. And so I remember having to learn my scales before I could go out and play. I'd have to go through my little 20 minutes practice. So I remember doing that from a young age. And then I didn't want to do the piano, so I wanted to switch instruments to drums was the next one, and then I think trumpet, and then there was violin, and then there was flute. And then when I was age of 13, someone handed me an acoustic guitar, and I was like, I like this one. So then I went on to electric guitar. And so guitar became my main instrument. But we were also doing singing all through school. So singing was another part of what I did. And I guess that evolved into songwriting, into doing my own albums, and then becoming an artist, and then going on tour. I grew up in Australia in a real country beach town, so it was very quiet, very small, and it was very easy to climb up and be very well known in that area. And I knew that I could branch out a little bit, and so I started traveling overseas to the States and doing lots of tours and lots of different things, and world tours. And I got sick of the ups and downs of touring. You'd play a sold out show one night, and then the next night, the promoter didn't even promote the thing, and nobody shows up. And the place that you play put you up in a five-star hotel, then the next place they don't have anywhere for you, and they give you a pizza box, or here you go, here's dinner. You're on your own, and so you're sleeping in your car. It's just too up and down. So I wanted to kind of explore other avenues to make music for a living, and that's what opened up the film and the TV and the sync world. We record your music, and you give it to the right people, and then they put it on a TV show, and then they write you a check out, and it's like, wow! So I don't have to go play a show. This sounds like a dream. So I've been doing that ever since. And back in the year 2000, I remember opening up my first recording software on a DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation. Back in the year 2000, your computer, you were able to record something on it. So I remember kind of venturing into the studio world back then. So yeah, I live here in the studio doing all my own music, recording music, making between 5 to 10 or 15 tracks a month. Just get that little bubbly feeling in it. I love it. This is so fortunate. I'm so blessed to just be doing this right in this moment. You know, it's kind of a cliche to say you're living the dream, but I truly love being able to do my music and craft. That's part of my stuff as a musician, as a producer, as an artist. That's kind of what I do. But then the other side of things, which I just started doing, is analyzing amazing singers. And Angelina Jordan is one of them, without a doubt. Just analyzing them and sharing with people what she's doing technically. One, I can get lost in those weeds of what the technical side of it, but I can also be like, well, that's the technical, but that's why it makes you feel this way, and which relates to everybody. Now I know why I feel that way when she sings that little bit or whatever that is. And so I've definitely just been knowing how to do all the parts and analyzing all that part, so you can kind of see what the stars are doing and you can kind of hear what they're doing and be like, I want to mimic that, or I want to get that same sound myself. And then being able to do that. And then it's like, oh, so that's the sound. And you can put that color in your palette as you're creating music. And it's ongoing thing. It always changes. Angelina Jordan changes. She's changed from when she was so young. She still has the core element, but she's changed her little nuances on her phrases and different words. Everything evolves and it's constantly evolving. And that's what keeps it really interesting.
As a songwriter, do you have any sense of what level is Angelina's songwriting capabilities? She has been writing songs since she was very young. But what kind of level do you think she's at?
I think I've only heard two of hers that she's done writing. One was when she was really young, maybe 12. That's great. You're not wrong when you're 12. Just do it. Seventh Heaven's an excellent, well-written song. So that's a very professional song. She's a great, very accomplished songwriter, I'd say. And I know that in order to get to a song like Seventh Heaven, you've written hundreds and hundreds of songs. You don't just get there. I would put her in the category of a very accomplished songwriter. And one of the things I know as a producer, if you are a great singer with a great heart and a great vibe, you could sing the dictionary. You could sing the newspaper, and you can make it just sound so good. She can just sing anything. And it's like, when you compare the people that are just number ones, the very, very top, their songwriting craft is just way up on that level. Or if they're not quite there, they're singing like the top of the tops songwriters. So like One Direction or Niall Horan or Harry Styles, they're writing or they're collaborating with these writers that are the best of the best of the best. So they're the best of the best singer, and then they get the best of the best song, and they just have hits after hits. And I know in the industry, one of the things that's a bit precious or a bit guarded is those hit songwriters, those big hit songs. They don't want to give their song to anybody. Now they're talking and they want to get 1 billion streams. So if anything under 1 billion, it's not worth their time. Well, it's hard to find one of those big songwriters to take a chance on you, even if you're getting millions of streams. If you're not with billions, they want to go to that next level themselves. So it's quite a challenge.
The most important question that we need to ask you, we know that you are a vocal coach, and we know that you describe vocal fry and you describe melismas, and Angelina is very skilled in that department. What is it about Angelina, and I'm not sure this answer is just about her technique, that turns the listener into a big heap of jelly?
That is an excellent question. And I really think it's something kind of deeper than just I think it's kind of like the soul of the person. Like you can sing a song and you can just dial it in and just be like blah 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 blah, and you're not really there, or maybe you're just not a kind person. I know her story when she was 6 years old and giving her shoes away, and that just screams to me soul, heart, love, kindness, and it just comes out. And I think if you're an angry kind of person, it comes out in your songs, it comes out in your music, it comes out as soon as you start singing. If you've got a lot of joy, you come out brighter, or you come out like that infective kind of thing where people are like, I feel good after listening to them. I don't know what it was, but I feel bumped up or a little higher because of maybe that's a very joyful person or maybe very happy person. Angelina Jordan's kindness is the biggest word that just sticks out to me. She just sings and she just has such a kind, soft heart that it just comes out. So she could be singing a song like I'm going to the beach today, but it would sound like it's a nice beach. It's a good beach. It's a good day. And it's, you know.
Steve, that is an excellent answer, because you were able to pair Angelina's inner quality with what she is able to communicate through her song. And if you have a dog at home, you can sometimes ride his instinct, and maybe we become big heaps of jelly because we are riding on Angelina's instincts that she communicates through her song.
Totally agree. Yeah.
But isn't that quite miraculous that your soul and your persona actually transmits through the music and the artistry? How is that possible?
I know that's I know, and being a multi-instrumentalist, that is the amazing thing about the voice, because if all of us just sang the same song, it just have this different feel, different vibe. If you're having a low day or just a down day, it comes out, and that's the beauty of your voice box. It can do that because it's alive, it's a moving instrument. If you didn't sleep well, it's going to sound tired. When you pick up the guitar, it doesn't sound tired. It's just the same all the time. And then you put it in the hands of somebody who can make it sing. But the voice box does it all. Quite a moving instrument. That's why voices are so powerful.
Steve, you made me think of if you just listen to 10 different people crying, you could learn so much about each of them by how they cry.
Interesting.
Not just the sound, but the way they lose their breath. And in that sense, singing is almost like crying because you can capture something. Maybe we should do a video where we have different people crying and we can analyze that.
Okay, that would be a quite depressing video, I think.
Yes, but educational.
And I remember one reactor saying even her breath is like music. But now I get what he meant. I think she has this sense of it's important to leave those breathing sounds even when you're recording in a studio, because it gives the performance a more human touch.
Oh, absolutely. And I would 100% agree and echo what that person was talking about, because for a singer, the breath is just the in between a note. So you might breathe between I'm going to the beach, but it didn't stop what you were trying to say. So the breath just happened in there. It's the same as like a saxophone player, a horn player. They all have to breathe, and it's absolutely part of that voice. And sometimes you breathe in the right key, and a lot of the times an accomplished artist like Angelina would just, those notes in between are in the scale. They're correct. If you looked under a microscope, they are notes in the scale, and they are getting to that next phrase. As a singer, you do it subconsciously. And on the technical side, without getting lost in the weeds, when I'm in the studio, I've had people, and they're actually cut the breaths out. And I go back to them every time and say, no, I need the breaths in there. It has to be in there. Otherwise, it sounds wrong. It doesn't sound right.
I want to go back to your answer about how Angelina communicates who she is as a person, which is why her singing is so effective. That is so new and original to my ears, and it's such a fascinating take. I want you, if you can, to elaborate and talk about other singers who are able to communicate who they are as a person, as you can understand that. Can you give us more examples? Is that a concept you've just thought of, or is that a concept that you've had in your head for quite a while?
And that's a good question. And I think I can't remember the first time I realized that. It might have been when I was singing, that it would gravitate me to things that resonated with my soul and with what I liked and what I believed. I feel like it's just a inert thing that's inside of you that happens when you do sing. Your personality come out and it sounds authentic. So if you sing a certain style, if you sing 10 different styles for audience, they just judge you, and you would find that everywhere you'd get the majority votes on the things that was authentic to you, the ones that you just dialed in. But the one thing that we're masters on, we can tell whether or not it's awkward, whether they're nervous. We know what's going on. And sometimes someone makes a mistake on stage. I've even seen Adele do this, where she'll turn her head just a tiny bit like, is that right? But then she's back to singing, and
that's a bit shit. Let's start again. That note was a bit off.
And it's very easy. Every singer would have done it many, many times where they just flinch that little bit, just be like, what was that with the band, or something's not quite right. And then other times they're just so confident, or they're so in that zone doing that thing, that us as the audience don't even question it. We just 100% accept it. Like, and jumping to the acting world, the times that we watch a movie or a TV show and the actor stands out, like meaning, oh, he's acting there, they shouldn't be doing that. You should be so in the part of whatever that is that you never think they're acting. You never even ask the question, are they acting or not? You're just so into that story. And I think that's what the human voice does. And I think I realized that earlier on, recording a lot of singers or even hearing a lot of singers. You hear them and you're like, okay, that's cool. And then you hear another one and they're a little pitchy or they're a little bit out of time, but boy, they've got something special there. But it might be the other way where they're singing all the right notes, everything's flawless, technical, but there's not much underneath it. And Angelina Jordan, she's really cool because she has the perfect storm. She can sing. There's no doubt she can do the technical up and down the scale. She can do the notes and she can do the phrasing. But then she also has this tone, which is the God-given thing that you just open up your mouth and whatever note you're going to sing, it could be a C. Anybody can sing that C. But then the depth and the tone underneath that is just like, wow. And then she has that soul behind it where she even has that story. When she was 6 years old, she's like, you don't have shoes? I'll give you mine.
Her parents lived in the Middle East, where she met a shoeless girl who worked as a street vendor.
Så sa hun at så fin sko du har. Og så sa jeg takk, og så sa jeg vil du ha den? Og så ga jeg den til hun, og så sa jeg hva ditt drøm? Hun sa at jeg vil være en lege, men jeg kan ikke. Og så sa jeg at du må aldri gi opp. Da sa hun at jeg skal be for deg. Da må du minne på meg. Det derfor jeg er barbent.
If I was doing that, I'd be like, where's the candy store? Where's my? I was thinking, I don't know.
I've watched several of your reaction videos to Angelina Jordan, and the key thing in watching your videos, when Angelina starts singing, I watch your eyes. And it's like a big pizza pie hits your face. And you're immediately, as soon as she starts singing, your eyes change.
Yeah.
So that's the secret in watching your videos.
Yeah. It's just magic. As soon as she opens up her mouth, steps up to the microphone, it's just like, you don't get that tone anyway. That's 1 in a billion,
What is it about that tone? Is it the larynx, or is it some kind of expression that she puts in? Is it something that you're born with?
Yeah, it's all the above. You're definitely born with that tone because it resonates in your skull. If you've got bigger cheekbones, it's going to have a different sound. So it's definitely kind of the bone structure and how you're shaped, because that's where it resonates. It starts here in your larynx. Everybody's throats is a different size. So those are just the things you're born with. You can't really change. And then you can learn all these other things to add to it, and then you can give it style. Angelina does a lot of that vocal fry. She hangs down low. But then when she goes up high, her resonance and her higher sound is so beautiful and so crystal. It's so clear. And it's because she's singing up higher and it's clearer. And then because she's singing lower and she adds that vocal fry, it's like gives it even a greater distance and a greater contrast of clarity. But it's definitely God-given for the way you're shaped. I know that she studied Adele quite a lot and she's looked up to Adele, but they're similar in tiny ways, but then they're very different. You wouldn't ever think, oh, that's Adele singing. Oh, my bad. That's Angelina Jordan.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say that.
There ain't no gold in this river that have been washing my hands in forever. There ain't no gold in this river that I've been washing my hands in forever.
But there's little parts that are like, oh, I think that she's maybe been inspired to use that little idea down there. And that's the beauty as a musician because of all of our background. Some people grow up on the Beatles and Aerosmith and they blend their sound. And then some people grow up on this other style and it blends that sound. And so everything that we do is a combination of all the things before us, of all the sounds we've heard and all the bands, because it sounds right to us because that's what we listened to 1,000 times when we were growing up.
I listened to several of your songs. Were you influenced by Bob Dylan?
A little bit, not too much. That's probably a little bit past me, but I was influenced by a lot of people that listen to a lot of that. So it's kind of like secondhand, and it's like I'm probably one generation behind that.
But one thing that is really puzzling to me about Angelina Jordan is her musical intelligence. For instance, the way she tackled I Put a Spell on You. She has really tuned into what Stephen Screaming Jay Hawkins was all about. And then what the song is about. And then mix in that with doing her own little flares. All of that needs some kind of musical intelligence behind it and put it all together. And she does this when she's 9. How can that be?
And so I don't know her background, but I would assume like very similar to mine, meaning like, how do you just know that's in tune? How do you know how to play that note? Why do you say that that's a bass? And how do you know all those little intricate things, that musicality? The simple answer is I've just been surrounded by music my whole life by my parents. So my parents are like, what instrument you want to do next? So I just lived in the music. It just becomes part of you. And I'm imagining, from the cameras, since the cameras have kind of been rolling on Angelina, she's, from the age of maybe even 9, even earlier than that, she's been singing. So she's been surrounded by the instrument. So she's like, when a guitar does something wrong, what's that? It's supposed to be on, it's supposed to be on the beat there. Why is that coming in there? So it sticks out because she's been around it so long. I've been around instruments and tuning up. Every instrument has to tune up. So when I hear a wrong note, it instantly sticks out because it's only that 1% or that 5% of the time that you hear that wrong note and you're like, well, that's wrong. So on the other side, it just feels right. So the longer you're in that music and surrounded by that music, you could almost break it down to a technical side. How many hours? Every hour that you spent surrounded by the right music, like things are in time, things are in tune, then it's just going to become, that's the normal.
She certainly has had a lot of encouragement, but I don't think her family is into music. There is one documentary where she famously tells the story of her being 2 years old and discovering a lot of music on YouTube.
Så fant jeg fra YouTube, og så kom det masse artister. Chevy Bessie, Louis Armstrong, Billie Holiday.
And I think she very early on got that kind of drive. This is something I need to be a part of. And then encouraged by her family, she did a phenomenal leap in her abilities there when she was like 6, 7.
Steve, as your unofficial tour guide down the rabbit hole, we are about to play an Angelina Jordan song for you we believe that you have not heard before. And then we can capture your reaction live and we can all talk it through.
That sounds great.
Which one do you want to start with, Alan?
I think California Dreamin' is a must.
That's a good song. I haven't heard her version, but I like the song.
It's good because it illustrates her musical intelligence.
Here we go.
How the leaves are brown and the skies are gray.
Yeah, so again, the first time she opens her mouth and sings, it's just the amazing tone. But then one of the other things is the breath control. But she's singing it softer, and the style that they've chosen to do this song is a laid back feel because the Mums and the Papas do da 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 da. It's got a little bit more up tempo, so she's chosen to make it different, which is a very smart choice.
I've been for a while.
So one of the things that I personally really like too is her vibrato. It goes like a vibrato into nothing. And so that's one of the things that really stands out to me. That's something I really appreciate. And I love the style because there's other people that might sing the vibrato and kind of stop. So it's like, da, and that kind of stop. But she can use her vibrato into almost a silence. You can hear that vibrato on the end go into just the breath. And that's a lot of control there. And I like that style. Those are little stylistic things that she chooses that makes her her. And she sometimes, looking at her age here, she might even know she's just doing what she wants to do. And that's her style is coming out. So let me play that again. Listen to that last part.
I've been for a while in the search of winter day. I've been safe and warm. If I was in the lake, California dreaming, oh, in a search of winter day.
Oh, it's just, that's why we're fans. She's just nailing it. It sounds, I hate to stop it really, because it's like, I think it's amazing. There's not much production. There's not much else disguising it. It's a vulnerable voice, some accompaniment on acoustic guitar, and there's a little bit of reverb in the microphone that they're putting in, but that's it. And she doesn't need all of that's extra to her because she could just sing. And I really like how, from a young age, she's able to just dance around the melody. She just floats around and it's all in pitch and it's all just so smooth. And that's what stands out to me. Really cool.
California dreaming, oh, in a search of winter day. All the leaves are brown and the skies are gray. I've been for a while in this such a winter day.
That run there, that is really, really cool. I'm gonna play that again. I love that little run. So smooth. She's done it probably a billion times, and it just comes out like, oh, it's just so.
I've been for a while in this such a winter day. I've been safe and warm. If I was in a lake, California dreaming, oh, in such a winter day. California dreaming, oh, in such a winter day. California dreaming, oh, in such a winter day. Bye.
That's great. Great song. Cool song to sing. And then having an amazing voice. Has all the technical and the vibe and the tone. It's a perfect storm. That was really fun. So I'm definitely going to be doing that one. That's next, maybe. That was a great one.
The way she does this melody is so different from the Mamas and the Papas. And I think the lyrics actually is better this way, especially that phrase where she says, the preacher likes the cold. He knows I'm gonna stay, which for me is kind of ominous. The feeling I get is it's more appropriate.
Yeah, I did like it, and she didn't quite go to the full extent of the song. I feel like the melody just went that little bit higher, but she holds back the whole time, which gives it that feeling of chill and a bit more relaxed. It's very interesting and very nice arrangement and idea that she thought of. Not quite going up to the high da 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 da, and then she brought it down in tempo as well. And it's I really liked it. I thought it was a really cool arrangement and cool cover on that song.
You see, Steve, to us angels, we hear a song like that, and how she arranges it makes much more sense with the lyrics. And to me, it begs the question, why do other singers who do covers, for example, not do their covers where the song makes more sense? To us, it almost seems like Angelina has a monopoly on bringing out the true emotion of the song. And we don't understand why other singers, it's not on their radar.
I think that's intuition. The Mamas and Papas have more of a female kind of voice. Then a great cover would be a male voice. Go the opposite spectrum, and you're doing it more of a strategic kind of thing to be different and be in a totally different category or no competition at all. If the song is up tempo, then I would actually bring it down to it's really slow. And they use a lot of those trailers for these big blockbuster movies. You've got this Bob Marley Don't Worry song, but it sounds like the person's like dressing out warring as they're playing this kind of, as they go into maybe a scary movie or something like that.
Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing gonna be alright.
So they use those things of the different contrasts. So as a technical side, but one of the things Angelina does here is she's brought the song down to not only her style, it's not only her vibe, because it's more of I feel like it's more of a female-led song. I think that she can't be in competition, so you don't want to sing it identical to that, because then you're like, well, it's not as good as the original, blah, blah, blah. But if you bring it down the melody and you adapt it and you make it yours, then it could be even better than the original, because if you like that style better, if you like that and you'll gravitate to that, then you're like, I'm never listening to the original version again, because I love this version. I love her style better than what that genre is of whatever the other style did. And so I kind of understand all sides of it, and I love both of the versions of the song. But I really respect the choice that Angelina did of not quite going up to the full melody and kind of bringing it down and then going laid back and like really chill. I think that it's just awesome. It's like it's kind of speechless. I think I wonder if she had much input, or is that 100% Angelina?
We think it's 100% Angelina. In the beginning of I Put a Spell on You, there are handwritten notes that the producer reads, which are in Angelina's handwriting. And she does have a nickname amongst musicians, even when she was 8 years old, as being the boss. And so she is Miss Musicality. In the documentary I sent you, when she's 3.5 or 4 years old, the sour face that she makes in class when all the kids are singing just shows that her musicality is already deeply in her, even when she's 3 or 4 years old.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. And an interesting fact about the recordings with this particular guitarist, Ivan, is that they often did it on 1 or 2 takes. It wasn't rehearsed very much.
Egil makes the point that everything they recorded were 1 and maybe 2 takes, and never really more than that.
Yes, and if there were more than that, it was really my fault.
And he himself confessed that some of the songs he never heard before.
I wish I could say I knew the Elvis Presley song, but I didn't really know it. Like, I wish I could say I knew some of the songs that were very popular and famous, but I didn't.
So he had to learn the chords, and then they just went with it, which is fascinating.
Wow.
He said things like, I can't believe that this person is singing like this next to me.
Yeah.
He had to keep pinching himself.
Playing with Angelina, because I just couldn't believe a singer this good could be next to me.
When you hear somebody on video or on a record, that's only 50%. If you hear them live and in person, it's just like hair standing. You can like, I'm in the presence of greatness right here. It's like, so it never captures. So if we're sitting here going like, she's amazing, she's just like, wow, that was amazing. Well, if she was singing in the same room, you'd just be like speechless, like literally speechless.
Steve, she's on the verge of announcing tour dates. Next March, she's may be doing a few cities in America. Pontus is in Sweden, I'm in England, and Pontus and I might be meeting in New York. Now, one of the reactors who lives in England flew out to LA last year to hear her. So maybe if she goes to LA, because you're in Colorado, maybe that might be the nearest location for you.
That sounds great. I travel to LA a lot for meetings and different things.
Do we have the time and energy for one more song to introduce to Steve?
Sure, I can do it.
This original song, she made this a few years back when she was on a contract with Republic Records. I think this is right up your alley because it's very produced in a studio, and I really like the instrumentations they've done and stuff.
Down on my knees, yeah, it's good. Love is lost. Yeah, it's lost.
Straight away, it's got such a good groove, like that kick. I do love all that stuff. And so the first thing I hear is your kick is very soft, almost distorted. And then she just comes in straight away with a very kind of like, and it's just so cool and so much vibe that sits on top of those instruments. That's what it needed. And it's, I just have to go back and hear that.
Down on my knees, yeah, it's good. Love is lost. Yeah, it's lost.
So did she write this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if you listen to it, you notice these soft things in the background. So if you listen really carefully, it's like she's singing in the background a backup vocal for herself.
That's great. Well, whose voice is going to blend the best? Her voice
yeah,
her
exactly.
voice or someone else's. Yeah, I love it. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, it's lost. I'm trying to fix this whatever the cost. Where did this all go wrong? So far from what we want to be here.
I would have to go through the song 10 times to hear all the stuff because there's other stuff underneath it. So the thing that jumps out to me here is that melody is repeating. So she repeats that thing, da da, and then she gives it a little change on that last note, which is from a songwriting skill. That's brilliant. That's what all the most catchy songs, they do that repetition. And she does that. So if you hear the melody, she does that. I think it's like a pre-chorus.
Where did this all go wrong? So far from what we want to be here. Till the night is gone. It's all my fault. It might be wrong, but I'm taking in the breeze while I fall. It might be hard.
So the harmonies coming in here, and it's probably her voice just doing the all in 3-part harmony, and then they go to a 7th note, I think it is, which gives it that. It's a really cool thing to do because she's got those long held out notes, and we talk a lot about contrast, and she's got those long held out notes, but her main voice is going da 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 da, singing lots of words. But they're really complementing because they're creating this long I love that. I love the contrast. It just really complements it.
I want you to care. My feelings are bare. I need you to know the blame is on mine. I do whatever it takes. It must be your way.
It's great. Is this her newest album?
No, it's a couple of years back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was on Republic. So they're paying all the studio musicians.
Yeah.
That's why there's no shortcuts here. Okay. It's very conversational. I would call this a conversational song. She said, I want you to care. I'll lay it out there bare. I think that's great. I think the conversational lyrics are very relatable because we all have those conversations. And sometimes it's the easiest way to say it is just say it in that conversation of how you would say it. And it also lends her, the singer, to be more relatable. If she spoke in these parables or the analogies, it gives her a bit more of a mysterious, we don't quite get her. But then when she speaks in more of a conversation, we understand what she's saying. And it's definitely more relatable. You can do both as an artist. You can do different songs or different, but in this song, I relate to it a little bit more. Yeah, I think some of the text is wrong. It's coming out wrong.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
That's cool too, that outro there.
Yeah.
Great song. Absolutely. Very, very cool. It's cool to hear her more in that studio setting because I've done, as I said before, we've only done like 10 to 20 of her songs. Most of them have been more live, more raw, and more just uncut talent, just that's what it is. And you can just see the talent just coming, oozing out. I've heard a lot of her now that has that jazz, big band kind of retro, just old school kind of sound, which suits her voice perfectly. And I also love the tone of those sounds. The kick drum is very floppy, lots of overtones there. The snare is very crispy and crunchy, and the hats just sit in there. It's not a lot of frills. It's just down to the core instruments, which is your drums, your bass, and a little bit of other instruments, and then the vocal in the song. And you don't want to be in my shoes, because when you hit play on any new song or any song, like all of the things are flying by me, and I can't speak enough. I can't think enough. It's like it's second thoughts. It's like, oh, that was a snare drum. That was a nice brushes on the snare. He must have filmed that, and the microphone must be underneath the snare and on the rim, and it sounds like a metal snare, and he's hitting it on the side. It's like, but that's already gone, and I'm already.
Yeah.
Steve, would you say that it interferes with your appreciation of a piece?
No, it definitely doesn't interfere. Music is an art, and there's not many things that are usually wrong, but it's wrong if it's out of tune and if it's out of time and if it's distorted. If it's at a concert and they're just really bad, I'll just move slowly and very politely leave it, because it hurts my ears. It's just like I can't handle it. If a chef can make every meal in the world, then when they sit down to a meal, they can taste every spice and they can tell you what's in there and all the different details. So that's all it is.
Steve, Pontus and I were overcome with excitement about this podcast because we were expecting great things from you, and you have not disappointed. And
I was going to say, oh, I'm sorry.
And what I have learned in the last hour, Steve, is not only are you a musical encyclopedia, but it's all on the surface. And you are very jazzy with it as well. You just flow with it and free flow, and you speak intelligently like a jazz musician. You just flow and interpret and innovative, and this is actually your best medium. I think this podcast is the way forward for you. As good as your videos are, it only shows a small portion of the talent that you have in terms of your musical understanding for this past hour. So if you can devise a way to highlight your musical knowledge in a wider format, then I think that's the way forward, because it's not so much that Pontus and I have done a great job. Pontus and I have just been spectators. And
Exactly.
You have taken the reins, Steve, and you have picked up the ball and run with it, as they say in rugby.
Hey, rugby. Yep, I hear you.
Yes, you hear so much. I have virgin ears compared to you. I will need to watch this video 3 or 4 times to follow exactly what you have heard.
Yeah.
And more power to you.
Just before we wrap up, any advice you guys would say to starting a podcast? Because I love that idea, and I know you guys have a podcast. I'm on one of your podcasts.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell the story, Alan, when I first proposed the idea.
My 21-year-old daughter 6 years ago had done a couple of YouTube videos, a bit of fluff. And it was the middle of COVID, and I said to her, actually, I know what I would do if I were to do a YouTube video, but I'm too old for this sort of nonsense. And she said, no, Dad, just go for it. I'll help you. So she did the first 3 or 4 videos, and then she went off to university, and then I was high and dry because she recorded and she edited it and she put it on YouTube. And I knew Pontus. I saw what he did, and I contacted him. I said to him, can you help me? And he said, I know who you are, and I like what you do. And Pontus has spoon-fed me. Pontus, over the last 6 years, has had the patience of a saint, and he has taught me everything I know. And so Pontus said to me, I think about 4.5, 5 years ago, Alan, we should do a podcast together. And I said to him, what is a podcast? And he explained it to me, and I said, oh, like a radio program. And the first season, we made the mistake of having audio only. And I said to Pontus, we're in the 21st century. We can't have audio only anymore. So the second season, we had video and audio, and our viewership went up by 10.
10 more people or 10%?
Yeah, 1,000% timestamp.
wow.
And we haven't looked back. And our approach to all of this is everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has a different reaction. Everyone is subjective. Someone said to me, Alan, your podcasts with Pontus are about the human experience. And I said to him, thank you ever so much. You really understand what we're trying to do. And that's also what Angelina Jordan's music is about. Her music is about the human experience. And so for us, Pontus and I, Angelina is not just our musical inspiration, but we are, again, picking up the ball and running it with it and carrying on the theme of what Angelina Jordan is about, which is the human experience. I'm a humanitarian. What can I say? That is how our podcast came to be. And we've done about 40 or 50. And the key thing, again, just like Angelina, is we go for variety. We've had a beatboxer on, and we've had musicians, and we've had other reactors, and we've had angels, and everyone is different. We've had panel discussions. We just try and not just think outside of the box, but live outside of the box.
It doesn't have to be so serious over time. We can have some fun too. So that's our approach to it, to keep it light. And always keep it positive as well.
But again, that's part of Angelina's inspiration. Angelina almost is not capable of criticizing or being negative. And so that is, again, something that we want to duplicate to highlight that aspect of her. It's in the tradition of Angelina Jordan. On many levels, she's a role model. And if we can focus her role modelship, then more power to all of us. I can think of many different ways and reasons why we could and should have you back. Thanks, Steve. You're a star, and you've really shown us your true colors, and you're a bit of a rainbow.
Thanks, I guess.
That's great. Thanks, Steve. Thanks.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Awesome. Well, all right.
care.
Good to see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So lovely and ever beautiful, I'm lost in your eyes. Oceans and shiny starry nights, deeper with life. Just call me when you need a shoulder, I will take the lead. My heart is yours, dear. Your nights won't get lonely, and I promise this forever. Just take my hand, darling. So perfect and ever wonderful, my dream, your smile. Just call me when you need a shoulder, I will take the lead. My heart is yours, dear. Your nights won't get lonely, and I promise this forever. Just take my hand, darling. My heart is yours, dear, and your nights won't get lonely, and I promise this forever. Just take my hand. My heart is yours, dear, and your nights won't get lonely, and I promise this forever. Just take my hand.